Ever feel like you're doing all the right things and still going nowhere? You're trying, you're thinking about it, you're putting in effort, but somehow you still hesitate, or you delay, or even worse, you stop completely. That usually doesn't mean that you're lazy. It means different parts of you want different things. Join me as we do a deep dive into this, and stay right until the end, where I'll give a couple of bonus tips on what exactly you can do about this.
Well done for watching this video, very nice of you. And seeing that you're such a nice person, go ahead, subscribe and hit the like button. You know it's the right thing to do.
A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Wesley, and this is a series of videos about goal setting. And in these videos, I give you practical tips and stuff that you can apply in your life, which will give you the best possible chance of achieving your goals and reaching an objective that you are after. Right, so in order for us to understand why different parts of you want different things, we need to look at two concepts. The first is congruence, and the second is ecology. So in my opinion, these are two of the most important things, or ideas, I should say, when it comes to creating change that actually lasts. Let's say that again, change that actually lasts. Simply put, one explains why you feel stuck, while the other explains why forcing it usually backfires. They're definitely connected, but they're not the same thing. Congruence and ecology. Think of them as two levels of the same problem. Incongruence is an internal conflict. This is when part of you wants an outcome while another part is pulling you in the opposite direction. On the other hand, ecology is the bigger, the macro check. Even if you get what you want, does that change actually work for you in the rest of your life? So, in simple terms, incongruence is the conflict, ecology is the consequence check. One explains why you're stuck, the other explains whether your goal is actually sustainable and suitable for each part of your life. Here's what this looks like in real life. For example, a person says, I want to grow my business. Now, from a conscious perspective, this sounds clear enough, right? And that is the conscious goal. But under the surface, something else is happening. One part wants this growth, visibility, and more clients. Another part associates being seen with criticism, rejection, or even pressure. So they say they want success, but avoid doing marketing or getting themselves out there so people can actually know who they are and what they do. And then what they do is they start overthinking the whole process. And in some instances, they might even withdraw and disappear. All right, especially when they were meant to be visible and be out there telling people about what it is that they do. And this is not because this person doesn't care. It's because part of them is trying to protect them. And this, folks, is incongruence. This person's system is sending mixed signals. Move forward. Stay safe. Move forward. Stay safe. Well, what are they to do, right? So this is what incongruence feels like in real life. Hesitation, procrastination, self-sabotage, mixed behavior. That frustrating experience of saying, I want this, while doing everything else that ultimately would delay getting you what you want. In simple terms, incongruence is what internal disagreement feels like. And this happens to all of us at some point in our lives. And in my experience, one can work on this on your own. However, it is better to work with a coach, especially if it is a very prominent incongruence that you're struggling to work through or to work out. And if you'd like, in the comment section and the description of this video, there is a link where you can book a free discovery call with me. It's 30 minutes, there's no obligation, it's free of charge, and let's see if I can help you with any incongruence that you're currently experiencing. So now that we know incongruence is what internal disagreement feels like, where does ecology come in? Well, ecology asks a different question. Not just, do you want this? But if this happens, what happens to the rest of your life? i.e., you have achieved your outcome now. How does this affect this? How does this affect that? How does it also affect these parts of your life? So ecology looks beyond the goal itself and asks, does this fit your identity, your values, your relationships, your lifestyle, your emotional capacity? What does this change affect? And what does it quietly cost? Something that a lot of people neglect to think about. Ecology is not asking whether that goal sounds good. Ecology is asking whether your system experiences it as safe, coherent, and very importantly, sustainable. For example, a person wants to earn 10 times more money than they currently are. On the surface, that sounds exciting, but ecologically, the real questions are, what will it cost you? What changes if more people see you? Will success make you feel exposed? Will earning more create guilt? Will it change how people relate to you? Will your current identity support that level of growth? Or will it resist it? And what might part of you believe you'll lose by gaining this additional income? This is why a goal can sound exciting, consciously at least, and still feel unsafe to your system. And when that happens, resistance shows up. Not because the goal is wrong, but because your system does not yet experience it as safe, coherent, and as I mentioned before, sustainable. Another way to think about this is incongruence diagnoses the conflict. It tells you where the internal misalignment is. It asks, what part of me is not on board? It tells you something in the system is pulling against the goal. Whereas ecology evaluates the impact of the change. It checks whether the outcome works for your entire system. It asks, if I get this, can the rest of me live with it? And that, folks, is ultimately the difference. One tells you why you're stuck, the other tells you what has to feel safe before change becomes sustainable. In closing, here is a bonus tip, something you can try right away. Generally, when there is incongruence, there is an issue with one of your core values. If you watch my previous video on values, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Generally, this happens because one of your core values are not being fulfilled. For example, let's say a core value is peace, and having 10 times more money means you're going to have to give up a lot of the peace that you currently experience. This is why you are experiencing a conflict. The value of peace is not being fulfilled in you making 10 times more money, for example. All right. And so what you can do is go and sit down and determine what are your core values. All right. If you're not sure how to do this, again, you can go and book a free discovery session with me. I will go through this with you. We should have this done in 20 to 30 minutes, and then you'll know what all your core values are. And then it will become a lot easier to determine why you're experiencing an incongruence or why there is an ecology issue when you have seen yourself having this goal, why these ecology issues are popping up. As I said at the beginning of this closing section, it generally means one of your core values are being violated. And if you remember from the video that I did on values, we set goals based on our values, not the other way around. It's for exactly this reason, to avoid these unnecessary conflicts and ecology issues later on. All right, thank you so much for joining, guys. There should be a part 2 where I actually go through the process and explain to you exactly how to deal with an incongruence and an ecology issue. All right, if you can, please go like, subscribe if you haven't already, and tell me what you think in the comments. Give this a bash, let me know, tell me what you think in the comments. Until next time, take care, look after yourself, and goodbye.